The High Court in London has found that children are, quote, highly unlikely to be able to consent to hormone blockers and sex changes. This is fantastic news for the safety and well-being of children. This is Ben Scallan and you're watching Gript Media. The High Court in London this week has ruled in favour of a British woman named Keira Bell in her case against the Tavistock Clinic. For those who don't know, the Tavistock Clinic is part of the NHS and part of its service is to give children puberty blockers and other controversial procedures if they identify as trans. The clinic has actually admitted that they gave puberty blockers to children as young as 10 years old, and this is all perfectly legal under UK law. Tavistock also run a clinic under the HSE in Ireland, and overall they have seen a massive surge in children being referred to them in recent years. 10 years ago, 97 children were referred to the clinic for puberty blockers. In 2018, that number was 2,519. In the past, the use of puberty blockers in young children had been claimed to be safe, but there has been growing concern that puberty blockers can have significant side effects and that children, once they begin using puberty blockers, are almost certain to progress to using sex change hormones, which will cause irreversible changes to the child's body with lifelong medical, psychological and emotional implications for the child. Keira Bell, who took the case against the clinic, claimed that the Tavistock Clinic had provided inadequate information to children about the harms associated with puberty blockers and sex change hormones, and that this lack of information, combined with the lack of safeguards at the clinic, breached the rights of children under EU law. Bell herself had previously been a patient of the Tavistock Clinic, going on puberty blockers at age 16, testosterone at 17 and undergoing a double mastectomy at age 20. However, she later detransitioned or changed back to identifying as a woman after noticing that even after her surgeries and hormonal treatments, there remained large differences between herself and biological males. She says, "I was being perceived as a man by society, but it was not enough." She says she began to feel that she was a woman with a beard, which is what I was. Bear in mind, this is not me saying this, these are her own words.
So initially I was put on hormone blockers, and I was technically on those for a couple of years before I was put on testosterone, and I was on that for just over 4 years. And then when I was 20 years old, I had a double mastectomy through the adult clinic. My body's permanently changed, so yeah, it was definitely quite heartbreaking to realise that I'd gone down the wrong path.
Keira, who lives in Macclesfield, began detransitioning last year and in January launched legal action against the Tavistock Clinic over its prescription of so-called puberty-blocking drugs. Her lawyers argue the treatment can lead to irreversible physical changes and should be illegal because children cannot give informed consent.
As a teenager or a young person, you don't quite understand yet how it's going to affect you later on, because you're still learning about the world and yourself. So all around, I think it's a bad move to allow young people to make that decision for themselves.
This legal case had focused on the question of whether or not children under 18 could meaningfully consent to taking puberty blockers and then sex change hormones, given the nature of the treatments and the potentially irreversible consequences of trying to change one's gender. Ultimately, the court ruled that it was, quote, highly unlikely that someone under 16 will be able to consent, given that A, the treatments were experimental, B, the actual purpose of the treatments was unclear, and C, the treatments can lead to a loss of fertility and sexual function. You can literally be made permanently infertile by a procedure you get as a child just because you're confused. The court argued that whilst children may understand the concept of the loss of fertility, this was not the same as being able to understand how that loss would affect their adult life. The court said that with the Tavistock Clinic treating children as young as 10, it would simply not be possible for a child of that age to conceptualize what not being able to give birth to children or conceive children with their own sperm would mean in adult life. Now, the consequences of all this remain to be seen, but it seems like it will now be legally difficult for children under 16 to be given puberty blockers or sex change hormones. The clinic is expected to appeal the decision, but for now, parents in Britain and in Ireland can rest a little easier. Please like and share this video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider signing up for a monthly donation via the link on screen to help us produce more content like this. Alternative media like Gript needs all the assistance it can get, and every donation goes a long way. As always, thanks for watching.